Hi, welcome everyone. We're going to get started in just a couple of seconds. So thank you for joining on. We look forward to this session. Hi, Ms. Ruby. How are you? Hi, Serena.
Hello.
Doing all right today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Good morning still for those on Central Standard Time. I want to say thank you for joining on. We are the City of Little Rock Small Business Development Office in conjunction with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. We do have with us Johanna Barrero as well as Devin Stubblefield. They are coming to us to present information on credit worthiness as well as using credit to be able to achieve your dreams of business ownership. So from a business lens and personal lens, we know that credit is a very important topic to all of us. Looking forward to our session today. This is very interactive, and I'm gonna kick it over to James, who will kind of give us a little overview of what we'll go through for today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. For those who don't know me, my name is James Owen, and I'm with the Little Rock Mayor's Office. We're super happy, and thanks to the Small Business Development Office and the CFPB for making this happen. I wanted to give a welcome to everyone. I hope everyone is staying warm here in Little Rock. I know that there's some freezing precipitation, or there was outside my door. So thank you for being with us this afternoon, this morning and this afternoon. Couple just ground rules that I wanted to share with everyone. First, if you're in a situation or a place where you feel comfortable sharing your camera and turning your camera on, we would love to see you. We also understand if you're in a place, maybe eating your lunch or something, where you don't want to share, but we would love to see you if that's possible, because we want this to be interactive. To that point, questions are encouraged throughout the presentation. If you have a question that's very relevant to that slide, we'll try to stop and acknowledge you. And if we don't get to you, if you want to drop it in the chat, we will have a short Q&A session at the end. So we'll try to get to you as best we can. Finally, in the vein of being interactive, we are going to use the annotation feature for Zoom, which if you haven't used it, it's really easy when we have our screen shared. So when there's a PowerPoint up or a whiteboard, there is a control bar at the top of your screen if you're on a computer, and there should be a pin icon. If you click that, that will allow you to annotate, and it'll give you some different drop-down options. And also, if you're on a phone for this, there should also be a pin icon. I believe it will be in the bottom left corner of your screen. If you have trouble with annotation, feel free to direct message myself, Derek, Johanna, or Devin Stubblefield. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Johanna to start us off and get us going today.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Derek and James, for that introduction. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's training on the Your Money, Your Goals tools and booklet on credit. My name is Johanna Barrero. I am joined by my colleague, Devin Stubblefield, and we work for ICF. We're a contractor working with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau or the CFPB. You'll hear us mention them all the time during this presentation on the Savings Initiative. And for the past year, we have been working with our colleagues at the City of Little Rock to promote financial empowerment in your community. And today's training will go over some hands-on tools to help you better understand your credit report and score, dispute any errors in your credit report, and make an action plan to build or improve your credit. And you will also learn about, what you can do if you suspect that you've been a victim of identity theft. All right, let's So you guys give me just 1 second. All right, so before we begin, we'd like to ask you to complete a pre-training survey. And there's a few ways you can do that. I'm going to paste the link in the chat box. You can click on the link, or you can use the QR code on the screen. You can use your phone or any QR scanner app on your phone to access the survey that way. But you should be able to just use the camera on your phone, or you can copy and paste the link on your screen into a browser to access the survey that way. And we're going to give people a couple of minutes to pull up the survey and fill it out. And in the meantime, I'm going to go over some standard disclaimer for the CFPB. All right, so while you complete the survey, which will be really helpful for us, I'd like to go over this standard disclaimer for the CFPB. It basically states that this presentation is being made by representatives on behalf of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and that any opinions or views that are stated during this presentation are the presenter's own and do not represent the views of the Bureau. And this presentation may also include links to third-party resources, but this does not constitute an endorsement by the Bureau or those of those third-party resources, products, or services. All right, so a little bit about the CFPB. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is a federal government agency that aims to make consumer financial markets work for consumers, for responsible providers, and for the economy as a whole. And to achieve this vision, the CFPB works to empower consumers. So they do that by creating tools, answering common questions, providing tips that help consumers navigate their financial choices, and shop for the best deals that work for them. And the CFPB also protects consumers from unfair and deceptive or abusive practices, and takes action against companies and practices that violate the law. And in doing so, they have already returned billions of dollars to harmed consumers. The agency also encourages education, financial education and capability from childhood through retirement, and publishes research and education and educates financial companies about their responsibilities. And here on your screen, what you see is some screenshots of your Maneuverable's resources. We're going to talk about some of those today. And these are a variety of resources that include a toolkit. The toolkit is meant to be a set of tools, not so much as a curriculum. It's meant to be used as needed by consumers and trainers doing any financial coaching or financial education. And it has a set of tools on a variety of personal finance topics. This suite of products also includes a number of online resources, including PDF tools that can make it easy to access information on the go or remotely. It also includes a set of colorful booklets that can help you address topics such as being behind on bills, or dealing with debt, understanding credit, and saving. And two of these at least are available in Spanish too. And then it has a set of companion guides that can help address the unique needs of special populations, such as Native communities, individuals with a criminal record, or people with disabilities, or those in the military community. Okay. So let's dive into today's topic. But before we do that, I think we're going to launch our first poll. Is that right, James?
That's right.
All right, let's do that. Sorry about that. I was gonna keep going. Okay, so if you can take a minute and answer the question on your screen, why do credit reports and credit scores matter? Why do you think that is? And you can choose as many options as you'd like. All right. So hopefully you had a minute to answer the question. Anyone has questions about the poll or? Okay, so whenever you're ready, we can look at the responses.
So 12 of you have answered. Let's try to get one more and then we'll close it.
Okay.
Just want to give everyone another second. There we go. All right, I'm going to close the poll now.
Okay.
And then sharing the results.
All right, great. So we see that most of you think you responded that you want the best credit terms offered for credit that you apply for, and want to be credit worthy, to be a guarantor for your business and help maintain your financial well-being. Excellent. All right. Okay, so let's look at why credit reports matter. And first of all, we believe that credit plays a really important role in a person's financial well-being because credit reports and credit records can really influence whether someone can access credit and how much they will end up paying for using that credit. We also know that economically vulnerable consumers are more likely to have limited financial resources and a lack of a credit record that can further limit their opportunities to use credit to get ahead. That is, getting a mortgage or a car loan or a student loan. So those are, two big reasons why credit reports and scores matter. But let's look at some of the reasons why credit reports and scores are important. So you may hear some people say that credit reports and scores don't matter to them because they never plan to get a loan. And that's fine. But this information in your credit report is used to make a lot of other decisions about you besides whether you will get a loan or not. So for example, having a poor credit history can make it very difficult for a person to get a job. Potential employers may use an applicant's credit report to determine if they will be offered a job, for example. It can also make it difficult for someone to get and keep a security clearance for a certain job, or even a military position. It can make it really hard to get an apartment, since landlords may use an applicant's report or scores to determine whether to rent them an apartment or not. It can make it difficult for someone to get insurance coverage. An insurance company may use reports and scores to determine whether to give someone coverage, and also to determine which rate they'll offer. And that will affect how much that person pays for that insurance. And this depends on the state where they live, but that is definitely something that can happen. It can make it difficult for someone to pay lower deposits on utilities and get better terms on cell phone plans. There are service providers like cell phone companies and utility companies that may use credit reports and scores to screen customers for deposit levels and cost of the services they offer. And it can make it very difficult to get a credit card. So in summary, having a less than stellar credit history or having a low credit score can result in having to pay a higher price for loans, credit cards, and other services. And since the information that is used to calculate credit scores comes directly from a person's credit history, there are some steps that a person can take to improve their credit scores. And we'll talk more about this in our presentation today. All right, and now I just wanted to show you this slide. The CFPB has done a lot of research to look at, who are those consumers who don't have a credit history or who have a thin credit history. And here's what they've found. That about 11% of consumers in the US have no credit record. About 4% have an insufficient credit history, or another, 4% have a stale history, meaning there hasn't been any activity in a while. And 1 in 5 adults do not have a credit score. So I wanted to see if what you think here are some examples of when consumers may end up paying more because they lack a credit history. So feel free to share in the chat if you have any thoughts about that. So for those individuals that we just talked about, those people with a thin credit history or no credit history, when do you think they may end up paying more because of that? New immigrants do not know about establishing credit, and so they do not have any. That is a great point. And sometimes they end up accessing services that are higher cost, and they are maybe alternative services, right? Thank you for that comment. All right, so feel free to share in the chat if you have other thoughts or comments. Making large purchases, yes, it can make it really difficult to make a large purchase. Great, so we're gonna move on to go over what's in a credit report. And we're gonna go over this a little bit more later in the presentation, but this is a little bit packed with information, so bear with me. What's in a credit report? Credit reports are divided into multiple sections. They start with a header and with some identifying information about the person. And that includes the name, current address, social security number, date of birth, employment history. But it does not include information such as race or ethnicity. It has also a section on public record information that includes financial public records such as bankruptcies, judgments, and state or federal tax liens. And it does not include records of arrests or convictions. And this is important because there are other specialty consumer reports, such as employment background screenings that include this type of information. It also does not include marriage records or adoptions or civil suits that have not resulted in judgments. Another section includes information on collection agency account information. So any accounts that have gone into collections and the status of those accounts, both past and present. Then it has a section on credit account information, and this one is pretty detailed. If you have seen your credit report, you'll know. It includes information on any open accounts you currently have or you have had in the past, the name of the company, the account number, the date the account was opened, last activity on the account, the type of account and the status of the account, whether you're a co-signer, an authorized user, or a guarantor on the account, et cetera, et cetera. So it has everything about that, that account. And just know that some accounts may not be listed, especially if they're really old, if they're older accounts or those that have closed a long time ago, or those accounts where the company that extended the credit did not provide that information to the credit reporting company. So you may end up looking at various credit reports and seeing that there are inconsistencies between one and the other. So you may have a credit card that shows up in one report but doesn't show up in another report, for example. The bottom line is you want to make sure that all the information that you're looking at is accurate and belongs to you. And then there is a section on inquiries made to your account, and there are two types of inquiries. The first one is the hard inquiries, which are made by lenders after you apply for credit. And this is important because those inquiries can affect your credit score. And that is because most the way most credit scores are calculated, they look at how recently and how frequently you applied for credit. So it does make a difference on your credit score. Soft inquiries are maybe when you pulled your credit report, or maybe someone was trying to offer you pre-screening you for credit or a credit card offer or something like that. And those do not affect your credit score, but they will show up on your report. All right, so those are the sort of main components of your credit report. One thing to note and to keep in mind is that negative information can appear on your credit report for a certain period of time, usually 7 years for most items. So bankruptcies can stay on your credit report for up to 10 years. Civil suits and civil judgments and other items can be reported on your credit reports for 7 years or until the statute of limitations has expired. And in contrast, there is no limit to the length of time that positive information can stay in your credit report. So that's the good news. But if there is negative information, you can expect them to stay on your report between 7 and 10 years, depending on the type of information. All right, so that's an overview of credit reports and scores. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Devin, who will talk about some of the tools.
All right, thank you, Johanna. Certainly appreciate all that information, and want to say good day to all of you. And we're certainly looking forward to making sure that you guys get this information. And what I'm getting ready to do now is go over some tools that you can use to be able to help you to really get a control of your credit. Now, I know Johanna just gave us lots of information about the 5 different components of what's on the credit report, and all the importance of making sure that the negative information is avoided or just not there. And so what I want to do is give you the tools that's going to help you to move this thing forward, because some of you are in one of 3 modes. Well, either you're credit building, or you're trying to do credit repair, or some of you might be doing credit restoration. And now those are 3 different methods that we can do to address our credit. And depending upon where you are, we have tools that will help you to facilitate all of that. And so again, you're going to get the tool after today's presentation, so don't worry about it. We're just going to show you what it is, and then we'll go from there. So you're going to get this booklet. And this booklet, even though it's got animations on here, with, and it's very colorful, portable, it's got some powerful tools that I believe that is going to help you guys move forward. And they're meant to be written in. Now, you certainly could make copies of it and that sort of thing, but the point is that you have them, and I believe Derek or James may have copies of it right at their office that you guys can get, or you can certainly use the PDF format. But let's take a look at what's here. And so here's the table of contents, and I want to bring your attention to these. There's 3 different colors here. Now I'm going to break down each of these so you guys understand. There are 8 tools here, starting with the yellow tools. The yellow tools are taking the first steps. Let's say, for example, you're just really trying to get things going with your credit, and so we got to request it, we got to review it, we got to look at it, inspect it, all that stuff. So those are the things up top here where you see the topics. Now I'm going to actually do a little bit of annotations myself. And by the way, James mentioned to you guys earlier that you guys can annotate. Here's what I want you to do. As I go through these particular topics, I want you to put a check mark or some sort of annotation around which one of these topics that you feel is most important to you. Pick one. Okay, out of the ones I'm going to share with you. I'm going to start out with the ones up top. Okay, look at my screen. Now, the first up top, the yellow ones, how do I get a free copy of my credit report? By the way, folks, everybody can get a free copy of their credit report every single week, right, until the pandemic is over. Right now, the CARES Act have given us this provision, so everybody can order their credit reports from annualcreditreport.com for free every week. Every single week. Now, you probably don't need to do it that often, but you can if you wanted to. But the point is, get a free copy, and we'll give you the website for that. Then how do I make sure my credit report is accurate? So you heard Johanna talk about the information, negative information. We got to make sure it's accurate. And then how do I get the errors on my credit report fixed? We're going to watch a video a little bit later. We're going to show that video. It's going to give you some information around how can we get this done? How can we fix those things on the credit? So those are the yellow tools. Now, the blue-green tools, this is for planning. For those of you who are saying, hey, you know what? I got to lay this plan down. I need a plan to follow. So you want to build your credit, you want to improve your scores, and then even some of you are going to be deciding when should you use credit. I understand that, when you're in one of those modes of building or repairing or restoring your credit, you're like, hey, I got to make some different choices here. So let's see what we got here for these topics. So what steps can I take to build good credit? Some of you need to understand that. Then how can I improve my credit scores? And then should I use credit to buy this? Now, I'm just going to say that, we keep it real. We sometimes, if we're short on cash and we got the credit, we're going to use the credit if we need to make that purchase, right? And we justify, we said, we're just going to pay it back later, pay it down. And you guys already know, if you don't pay it down, right, that interest is going to kick in. And now it's the purchase plus the interest. And if you're only making minimum payments, that's a whole different ball game, right? So the point is that we want to think about when should we use credit. So those are the blue-green tools. Now the red tools, okay, can be used for emergencies or immediate challenges. Now I did say emergency because somehow, let's say for example, you guys got a notification that there's an account in your name that you didn't open. Right? That's identity theft. That's an emergency, right? You need to get that handled ASAP because you don't want somebody out there using your credit, opening up an account that you ain't got no business on, but you will be held completely responsible for if you don't get it handled. So we got to talk about that. What if I've been a victim of identity theft? So we got a tool about that. And then, who can I turn to for help? And that's why we're here. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is your friend. They have lots of things available to help all of us to get these things handled. Now, again, really quickly, okay, so on your screen, I see some of you have already started to do this, but let us know of these topics, which one is the most important to you. Now, if you cannot annotate, then drop it in the chat. We're good with that too. Okay, so just go ahead and do that. But we want to make sure that we can address the need for all of you. And by the way, we are going to have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end. So if you have some questions, just go ahead and drop it in the chat and we will definitely get to them. So again, we're just looking at these 8 topics. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of go through these particular slides and showing you how you guys can use these tools to move forward. Okay, so here we go. All right. So just so that you know, when you guys get these booklets, they're broken up into 3 parts. You have the description on the left side where it tells you what the tool is, right? And what you're going to need to execute on that tool. Okay, so that is on the left side under tool description. In the middle is the worksheet. Now, this is where the action is going to take place. The worksheet breaks it down like, here's how we do this. Okay, we get it done. And so the worksheet is really where all the work is going to take place. And you can fill those out. You just follow the instructions on each one. And we're going to go through a few of them here in our time together. So no worries on that. We'll definitely get to you. But the point is, we want to make sure you guys understand how it works. And then on the right-hand side, it says a step further, additional resources. What's that all about? That's where you're going to find all the gems. Okay, there are some gems that are packed into this guide here, this booklet, that's going to tell you exactly what else to do. Because so you're going to get the worksheet that's going to show you what to do right now, but then let's keep it going. Let's take it to the next level and take the next step. And so just wanted to share that with you. And with that is how the tool is structured. Now, I want everybody to take a look at this screen right here. This is my credit snapshot. Now, here it is. Now, this is a very cool tool because notice up top is asking you a question. It is asking you, how are you currently using credit? And you might want to think about this. And so let's look at the choices here. Okay, let's take a look. And I'll go through each of these so you guys can see what's going on. So we got, I've never used credit before, or I've ran into trouble and stopped using credit, or I use credit, but I struggle to keep up with payments, or I'm making progress, improving my credit. And then finally, I'm using credit and savings to make large purchases. So you are on one of these areas here. This covers everybody. So wherever you are, I want you to think about that, okay? Because here's the deal. We got to understand where point A is before we can get to point B. We got to understand where we are. So this is what we're doing. Now, second question. Once we understand how we're currently using credit, now we got to ask ourselves another question, which is credit holding you back of any of these things? Some of you might be trying to get an apartment or a car or cell phone or a credit card, you know, or try to pay for school or get a loan. I mean, look at these different areas. Now, there's also a circle here for other. If there's something that credit is holding you back from that's not listed here in any of these icons, then just simply write it in there. But what we're doing is we're trying to get an assessment. All we're doing is saying, hey, how am I using credit? Is credit holding me back? And then the third question is, how could improving my credit help me achieve a goal? Okay, so we're all trying to get to this place where credit as an issue is out of the way. I want you to say that in your mind. Credit as an issue, got to get it out of the way, right? Because you guys are business owners. You guys are trying to get things done. You're going to need, as you saw in the poll, if you go out and apply for credit and you don't have business credit, guess what they're going to say? Hey, you got to be a personal guarantor. So you got to understand that we got to get these things handled. Now, some of you have already been working on that, and that's awesome. But others of you are just now getting started, and that's cool too. So that's why we got these tools for you. All right. So now let's keep going here. Now, to get the free copy of your credit report, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? First of all, you need to decide when you're going to request the credit reports. Now, I told you guys you can get them every week. So, you know, that's up to you, but you can certainly get them every week. Do what you need to do, but then figure out what you want to do once you receive your reports. So what we do here, I want you to think about here, look at the question at the bottom right of your screen. Bottom right of your screen, it's a question, it's asking you, okay, when was the last time you checked your credit report? If there's anybody who checked their credit report in the last 30 days, put I did in the chat. Okay, just I did in the last 30 days. Okay, because we got, hey, I'm gonna tell you something. You guys should consider staying on top of these things. Okay, because you need to understand what's happening, when it's happening, while it's happening. And the point is that if you are seeing things happen on your credit report, right? You're seeing things happen and then you can kind of make moves. Your credit score is moving every day. If you're having activity on your credit report, those of you who have either credit monitoring apps or you're logged in to Credit Karma or Quizzo or credit.com or Capital One, all those different apps that we have around credit, you may see that your scores are not stagnant. They are moving all the time because your balances on your credit cards are changing, your payment history is coming through, all of that. And so the point is you got to stay on top of it because your credit is going to be reported regardless of whether you're looking at it or not. The point is you want to stay on top of it. And so that's what I'm talking about. So a few people say I did. So we're saying, well, now, if you didn't, now there's quite a few of you who didn't say, I looked at my credit report in the last 30 days. I'm going to say maybe before the end of today, you want to go ahead and pull that credit report, right? So the point is we want to make sure that we get this handled. All right. Thank you all. Thank you. I hope everything's okay, Miss Sabrina. I hope everything's okay. I just saw your thing in the chat about the emergency dismissal. I hope it's all good. Be safe. Thank you. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. All right. All right, y'all. Let's keep it going. Now, here's one of the first worksheets. So make a plan. We talked about making a plan earlier. We got to make a plan. So this means we got to request a copy of your credit report. And this is what we're going to do, right? And again, this is all about making sure that we are proactive with this. We're going to be real proactive. Now, some of you may decide, well, you want to do it online. Okay, online. Go to annualcreditreport.com and follow the prompts. Some of you says, I don't want to do it online. I feel more comfortable doing it by mail. That's cool too. Okay, then now here's the thing. There is the address that's on the form here. And again, you guys are going to get this as soon as we're done. Okay, we can get you the PDF version of this or you can stop by Little Rock, City of Little Rock, their office where the Build and Prep Academy is, and get your actual booklet yourselves. The point is you can mail a request in. It's going to take a little bit longer, but if you like to do that, that's cool. But then you also, I bet you didn't know this, you can call. There's an 800 number you can call and say, hey, I'd like to order a copy of my credit report. Now they're going to ask you a bunch of questions and all that. But the point is you should be able to answer the questions because they're going to be asking you questions around information that's on your credit profile that you should be able to answer. Now, if you can't answer them, they're going to make you send in some ID. Okay, just letting you know. As a matter of fact, same thing happens online. If you go online, you try to order the credit report, it's going to ask you some questions. If you miss one or two, boom, then what's going to happen is they're going to make you send in ID and additional information to be able to send you the report. Now, here's what you can also do. You can say, well, you can request all your reports on 3 different dates, or you can do it all at the same time. That's what this area is here. Over here, this is what this is talking about. I'll request my credit reports on 3 dates, or I'll request my credit report on this date. So if I were you, I'd look at them all at the same time because you want real-time information on all 3. And let me tell you something, they don't talk to each other. Equifax is not calling Experian saying that Devin just had a little movement on his credit card, so let's bump his score or let's dip his score. Equifax is not calling Experian to say that. They're not talking to each other. So you have to be able to see what's up on your own and make sure that you keep up with all 3. Okay, very important. Now, here is,
Hey, Devin.
Yes, sir.
Kay just asks, is Credit Karma a good resource?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you very much, Ms. Kay. Here it is. It's really about what your preference is. All of those apps are beneficial, and it just depends on personal preference. Now, I can tell you that Credit Karma is only going to give you 2 scores out of the 3. So they'll give you a TransUnion and an Equifax. They're not going to give you an Experian. So you're going to have to go to Experian and get your score, if you're working with Credit Karma. Now, there are other ones out there. But again, a lot of people like Credit Karma. It's all good. They are all good. I just say this, use the one that you feel is giving you the information you need when you need it. Me personally, I like to see all 3 of my reports. So I would use it. I just FYI, just because you mentioned it, you could use credit, go to myfico.com. MyFICO has an app just like Credit Karma, and you can get all 3, and then you get all these different credit scores too. So the point is that there are multiple credit score models. We're going to talk about that in a minute here, but the point is, I just want you to understand the apps are good, they're fine, you can totally use them, but again, figure out what's your preference and then stick with it. Okay, because they're all going to be different. They're all gathering information from the source, and Credit Karma may report things a little bit differently than some of the other ones. And so I would say stick with one, be consistent, and get the information you need. Yeah. Also, yeah. All right. Thanks, Johanna, for putting the credit booklet link, and thanks, Derek, for putting in that information on MyFICO. Thank you so much. Now, here's the thing. Now, on this particular area, on this tool, it says, what will I be asked for? Okay, you're going to be asked for your identifying information, your social security number, your address, your birth date, and the correct spelling of your name. Let me tell you something. If your name is misspelled, I want you to get that corrected. If your social security number is off 1 digit, get it corrected. You don't want no information wrong on your credit report. Now, we're going to come to how we get that stuff off in a minute, but I just want to say that now, since we're talking about the information you got to provide. If you're noticing that things are not right, we got to get it handled. Okay. So anyway, this whole thing is telling you about how you can request your free credit reports, and I want you to do that whenever you can. All right, so that you can get all 3. All right. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually ask, I'm going to turn my thing off here for a moment, and we're going to go to a video because we're going to actually look at this video. James is going to tee this video up soon as I stop my share. Okay, we're going to look at a video, and we're going to look at how we can dispute some of those errors on the credit report.
Have you noticed an error on one of your credit reports but don't know what to do? ConsumerFinance.gov has tools and resources to help you dispute errors on your credit reports. To correct an error on your credit report, you'll want to reach out to the credit reporting agency or the company that provided the information, or both. There are a bunch of specialty consumer reporting agencies that collect credit history and other data, but the big three nationwide agencies are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. The company that provided the information could be your bank, landlord, credit card company, or debt collector. These are known as furnishers. Contact the credit reporting agency, either online, by mail, or by phone. Be prepared with the following: your personal contact information, an explanation of the mistake and why it's an error, any evidence you have that supports your dispute, and your report confirmation number if you have it. This can be found on your credit report. Then request the credit reporting agency either remove or correct the error. Remember to save copies of all documents and communication in relation to the dispute. You can also dispute the information with the furnisher. That's the company that provided the information to the credit reporting agency. Check out consumerfinance.gov/credit for more info. There you can find sample letters you can use to communicate with specialty consumer reporting agencies and furnishers, along with clear step-by-step instructions on how to dispute credit report information. Consumerfinance.gov is your go-to resource for clear answers to hundreds of financial questions.
And we're back. Did that work for everyone?
Awesome. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Very good information. And so Johanna's going to come up and talk to us. We're going to do another Zoom poll, but I just want to say this. In the booklet, there is going to be additional information that's written in there that will show you exactly how you can do some of those disputes. And so just wanted to let you know that that resource and that information is there. Johanna.
Thank you, Devin. And James, are we ready to launch the second poll? And the question is, how successful have you been in disputing errors on your credit report in the past? So you may have been very successful, got mixed results, not successful at all, or maybe you have not disputed any errors on your credit report. So feel free to just click on the option that applies to you, and you should be able to see the poll on your screen. All right, and whenever you're ready, James, we can show the results.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and then sharing the results right now.
All right, so yep, that's great. So most people have not disputed any errors on the credit report yet, and that tells us a couple of things. So either, you know, all the information is correct and it's accurate, and that's great, you're in a good situation, or maybe you know, are you aware of what's in your credit report would be my second question. And so in that case, you may want to go back and review those. And you know, some of you have been successful fixing those errors in your report, and that's really great.
All right. Thank you, Johanna. Thank you, James, for launching that poll, and Johanna for that explanation on that. Very important part. Now, here's another thing. We had some of you said mixed results. Some of you said didn't get good results at all. So I know it's hard. I know, because sometimes the reporting agencies are like, okay, we haven't gotten proof that this is not right. So the point is we got to keep at it. Okay. And so I want to say to you, when you get the actual tool, go through that process and make sure any supporting documentation that you can provide regarding the disputes that you're doing, please do so. Now, I know some information you can't dispute, because like if it's wrong, like I don't have any proof that it's not mine, but it's not mine, right? Then you're going to be filing an identity theft report, right? You're going to be filing that kind of report saying, hey, these accounts are showing up on my credit, it's not mine. Boom, let's make it official. Okay, and that is taking action as well. So I just want to say that, and we're going to keep going. I know our time is running short, and so we'll just move forward here. All right, so we talked about creating an action plan. So guess what? There is an action plan tool here. Now, here's the thing. I'm just going to walk you through this really briefly here. On the left-hand side of this, it breaks down about, okay, what are the steps to build good credit? Okay, you're going to get your and review your credit report. You're going to research credit building options and choose one, and we're going to look at that in a moment. And then you're going to establish good habits for managing and paying your bills and credit cards and that sort of thing. But then there might be some resources that you know about. I'm sure that Derek and James can share about. You'll write your resources here in this area, and then put a date down that you want to get this stuff done by, right? April 1st, 22, right? So just give yourself a timeline of what you're going to get things done so you can keep yourself accountable. And so that's what we're talking about here on that. Now, in terms of everything else, we're going to keep going here. There is, now this is the gold right here. This is where all the gems are. I believe in this particular tool. It breaks down. Here is how you do this. Here's how you build good credit. You want to get your credit scores up, do these things. Now, this is published by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, so this is real. So this is not, you know, fake credit repair information. This is real stuff, okay? Starting with this first one, get a secure credit card. You know, you put a deposit down, you get a card in the same amount as your deposit, and you use it, you start paying on it, and then after a few months, boom, your score is going to be impacted by this new card. Or you can take out a credit builder loan, okay? There are many sources and credit unions and banks that are doing this. Matter of fact, just do a Google search on a credit builder loan, and you will find some of the very, very popular credit builder loan agencies, and this works. I'm going to tell you something. I've seen some young people do this, get a credit builder loan, and they got their credit up, credit go into the 600s, they keep paying on it, and then all of a sudden now they offer them a credit card, they keep paying on that, and the next thing you know, they're in the 700 range. Now, what's great about the credit builder loan is you go to a place and they say, okay, well, how long do you want to pay on this loan? And the person may say 12 months or 18 months or 24 months. And what they do is they don't give you the money. What they do, they just have you set up making the payments. And you start making the payments, the payment goes into a savings account, right? It goes into a savings account, but they report it as a loan payment. And then at the end of the 12 months or 18 months, then they give you all the money, and then you get all of that payment history on your credit report, and it boosts up your score. It is amazing. Credit builder loans are awesome. But then there's the unsecured credit cards. You can do that. You got to have a minimum credit score. Go to your bank and they can tell you what the minimum credit score is on that. But then you could also do this up here, become an authorized user. So if you know somebody in your family, sister, brother, sibling, a parent, cousin, uncle, whoever, that has a good credit history, they want to add you as an authorized user, or you want to do that for somebody in your family, you can do that. And guess what? That good credit payment history flows onto their report, only for that one account, not for the entire credit, but only for the one account. It will flow onto the other person's report. But then there are less traditional payment data. You guys have seen the commercials on TV about boosting your credit scores. They're using information like utility bill payments, cell phone bill payments, insurance bill payments. That's what's helping boost these scores. And so you want to just kind of check that out. Now, so again, use your discretion, but the point is these options are available, all right, to help you guys do this. So I would say these 5 things right here on this page, if you just do any combination of these 5, this will help build up your score. Now, this is not cleaning up your credit. If you got stuff you got to pay off, or stuff that's got to come off because they're wrong or disputing errors, that's that repair that I was talking about earlier. This is building. This is what we need to do to help build the scores so we can get it to that next level. But just want to share that with you so that you guys understand how that works. Okay, now your scores are based on these things. Notice the bulk of your score is going to be on the payment history and the amounts that you owe. Okay, so just so you know, right here, these areas here, that is really where the bulk of your score is made. Now, the other half of this, new credit, 10%, types of credit, 10%, and length of credit history. Let me say this about that. Let me tell you something. Somebody always say, well, you should pay off your account and then close it. No, you shouldn't. If you're trying to build up your scores, you want to keep that account open. Why? Because the length of credit history is a part of your score. If all of the stuff on your credit report is less than 2 years old, then that's not a very long credit history. But if you had accounts 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, that is still being paid satisfactory, even if you don't use it, keep it open if your scores aren't where you think that they should be, because the length of the credit history is going to help support a better score. Keep it open, because I guarantee you close down one of those accounts that you've had for a while, that has been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year history, you shut it down, then that history goes away. So your average length of credit shrinks, and that's going to drop your score. And we don't want to do that. Okay. I'm just saying, just trying to help you guys think this thing through a little bit. All right. And so I'm just going to say, do what you can to look at these things. I'm going to pass it over back to Johanna. She's going to talk to us briefly about the thing I mentioned earlier around identity theft, and she's going to give us some more information on that. So Johanna, I'm going to get your slide up, and then you can go ahead and move forward with that. Go ahead, Johanna.
Thank you so much, Devin. All right, so we talked about why it's important to keep an eye on your credit report, to monitor your credit scores and make sure that all the information is accurate and it's complete in your credit report. And one of the, the main reasons for that is because we want to make sure that if there are errors, whether they're small errors that can be fixed easily, or if there is inaccurate information, that we act quickly on it before it becomes a bigger problem. I'm sorry. And what I mean by that is that in the process of reviewing your report, you may realize that you may have been a victim of identity theft, right? That maybe somebody is using your personal information, such as your name, your social security, or a credit card number, or some other account, to make purchases, to get a loan, or even to rent an apartment. And that is a little bit, there are more steps to take care of that. So you want to make sure that that's not happening. And the best way to do that is by monitoring your credit report. This tool in the booklet will help you figure out what to do if you need to recover from identity theft, or situations where you may have been a victim of fraud. And it will also help you find resources that can help fix the situation and protect your identity in the future. And also report the identity theft to the Federal Trade Commission, which is going to be sort of your, your report of that crime. So when you unfold the tool, you will see this worksheet. We can move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So the worksheet outlines the steps that you can take when you discover that identity theft has occurred. The first step is always going to be contacting the company where you see the erroneous information, right? If it's a credit card company, you want to contact them and let them know that you're, give them your account number, your information, and let them know that the information is wrong and needs to be taken out of your, needs to be corrected. You should ask them to remove that information or close the account if needed. I don't know about you, but it's happened to me many times where, my credit card gets not stolen physically, but somehow somebody has access to the number. I see charges on the credit card. I have to call the company before things escalate, make sure the account is closed, and they, you start all over again with a different card number. So that's just a small example. Next, you'll want to report that information to the Federal Trade Commission, and you want to do that by gathering all the information, everything you know about, what happened, have your account information ready, explain how your accounts were used. For example, if they were used to make certain purchases, gather any information you may have on the person that stole your identity, if you know that, or the place where it was stolen. So sometimes people can end up in a situation of identity theft as part of a data breach. So companies where information from many persons gets stolen, and that results in identity theft for those individuals. And then you want to complete an identity theft report at this on this website, identitytheft.gov, and I'll put that in the chat because that is a good resource to have. And that will be your official statement about this, fraud. And next, you'll want to place a fraud alert on your credit report. So on this tool, you can take a look at the tip on the top of the page. When you place a fraud alert, companies must make reasonable steps to verify your identity before approving any additional credit on that you apply for. And it protects you for at least a year, and you can extend it for up to 7 years. So you only need to contact one of the 3 nationwide credit reporting companies to place a fraud alert on your report. All right, so remember that the first step is always to do a thorough review of your report. Make sure the information in it is accurate and correct. If you suspect that you have been a victim of identity theft, remember to follow the steps on this tool. And again, there are hard copies that I know Derek and James have in their office, but you also have a link where you can download the PDF file of the booklet, and it has all this information in it. So that's a brief overview of what to do in case you've been a victim of identity theft. I wanted to open it up. Well, actually go over a couple of more resources here, Devin.
Yes, Johanna, we're gonna pivot here.
Okay.
We've got 2 minutes left, and there's been some questions coming in the chat, and I wanted to clarify the question that Charlton asked, and I believe he was asking in regards to the 30% in the actual area of the amounts owing on the credit. And so my response is that I guess I understand if people are lower income and they are using their credit cards to make everyday purchases, then of course the utilization is going to increase, right? And so that means that the ability to pay those down faster is inhibited. And so, yeah, in that regard, yes, I would say that from what you were asking, Charlton, I believe that was where you're going. Am I correct in that now?
That is correct, because they are going to be affected more. And so that's why I questioned.
Yep. Thank you. That was a great question. Thank you. All right. Anybody else have any questions?
Is locking your credit a good idea to help prevent ID theft?
Yeah, that's also known as a credit freeze, and you can do that with all 3 bureaus. Matter of fact, let me give you the resource. Go to identity theft idtheft.gov. Let me just put, I'm typing .gov. Okay, idtheft.gov should get you to the site that that is sponsored by the FTC, that will give you all of the different things that can help you to mitigate identity theft, including locking and freezing your credit reports. Yes. Thank you. Wow, we're at our time right now, at the bottom of the hour. So really appreciate everybody for being here today, and thank you, Derek and James, for allowing us to come and to share this information, and certainly appreciate all of your input and everybody's contributions to today's webinar.
And before we sign off, I just want to give one last throw it over to Joanna. We have a post survey. So right, it's the same link, I believe, as the
Sorry,
Like-
it's a different link and I just pasted it in the chat.
Okay,
Thank
here
you.
it is. It's the link that I just posted in the chat as well. And so that's to a post survey. So if you can go ahead and open up that and fill that out in the next few minutes, that helps us collect data to figure out how we can best serve you and make sure that these trainings are effective. We would just appreciate your time. The other thing that I want to say as we're signing off, this is the second in a series of 3 webinars that the City of Little Rock is doing in partnership with Johanna and Devin. So there's a third one coming up. And so it will be sometime, I believe, in the 3rd week of March. You should hear about it on social media channels and through Derek's emails. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll have a Zoom registration up for that here in the next week or 2. And so we look forward to seeing you there. That one should be on cash flow budgeting.
And we look forward to seeing it. Thank you, James. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Devin. I mean, this was pretty rich with everything that's going on, a little winter weather advisory that's happening here in Central Arkansas. Yes, everything shuts down for, but it's actually coming down pretty well. So I hope everyone is safe. If you are having to travel, please do so safely. And we do thank those who were on earlier and had to jump off. But thank you, Devin. Thank you, Joanna, and looking forward to our March engagement. Maybe we can do a little fireside Q&A chat to answer any questions that may be in the interim. But everyone have a great day. Thank you so much. My name is Derek Rainey, City of Little Rock, Small Business Development Office for the Build Academy and Build Preparatory Academy. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.